Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics. This morning we are out chasing the iconic Australian bass in a freshwater impoundment. A quick session before work, fishing with Declan and Josh, and we are fishing the TT Quake Power Vibe. Fish on. Oh, that is so sick. The things we do for a fish. Woo! All right, this morning we're fishing the TT Quake Power Vibe. So the great thing about this little vibe, 75 mil, it's got plenty of weight so we can make a big long cast out off the bank here, and we're fishing sort of down into 20 to 25 feet. So we're making a big long cast and getting it down to the bottom out there. So this guy's built with an internal stainless steel frame, which accentuates the vibration and also makes this thing nice and strong and durable, especially with that tough material as well in the build of the vibe. Nice big 3D eyes as a strike trigger, holographic weight on the belly of the transparent models, and 4x strong Japanese trebles on this. So this is a great little lure, very versatile lure, whether you're fishing vertically or, as we are today, throwing big long casts off the bank. So appeals to a stack of different species in the fresh and the salt. Let's put it to work on a few bass. That bloke's on. Josh is on, nice little fish to kick things off.
Lovely.
Beautiful fish, mate.
Good start with the day.
Retrieve wise, what were you doing for that one?
Just hopping it off the bottom.
Yep, yeah. Yep, so hopping retrieve off the bottom. We'll have a closer look at this one. So beautiful fish, the Aussie bass. Nice big solid fish. Just going to pop those trebles out so we don't have to deal with them, and then we can handle them with a thumb in the mouth because they don't have aggressive teeth or anything like that in there. You do have to watch the spikes on them though. They've got a spike around the anal fin and also some spikes on the side of the gills.
See our little dude there to start the morning, just on that Quake 75 in gold dust. Had about 4 goes at it, but he eventually engulfed that front treble, so he definitely wanted it. But yeah, hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. Yeah,
they eat a lot of bony brim and that sort of thing, so it's a beautiful bony brim profile. And with that low light this morning, kicking things off with some darker colours to start things off. So we'll get that guy back in the water. Beautiful, mate, good start.
There he goes.
Hey, solid.
That's a bit better.
Yeah, nice, nice, mate. First fish of the session and an upgrade to follow. A couple of casts later.
Just shaking that Quake along the bottom, and he was all over it, straight up.
It's a great thing about that vibe. Putting out plenty of vibration as it moves through the water, whether you're hopping it or slow rolling it or burning and killing or whatever you're doing. So that's vibrating near the bottom. It draws the attention of the fish over, and they come and they smash that thing because it looks like a little bony brim. We just pop those hooks out. Nice big gob on those bass, so they've got no problem eating that 75 mil Quake vibe. Declan's on to one over there as well. I better get my act together. Double hookup, so there's a few fat fish here. We've basically just been working our way along the bank until we find a school of fish. Another dark colour in the vibe there, that's the purple rain colour in the 75 mil Quake. And a couple of cool Aussie fish.
Mine's bigger.
Just warming up.
It's not hard.
Yeah, it's bigger than mine. So that's pretty cool. We've just trekked our way along the edge. We found a patch of fish, so hopefully we can convert with a few numbers and hopefully a couple of bigger fish as well. Oh, that's a good fish. Josh onto a solid fish, straight up. That fish ate on the drop again, so ate as that lure was sinking. And it's given Josh a bit of stick over there through the trees. Caddy. He just lost a point for that one.
That is not what we ordered.
Yep. That's what we want. That's better touch up. Oh. He's not giant, he's dropping off. Just that initial hit, eh? That was pretty cool. That was just hopping the lure back and it's eaten it right on that edge. It's followed it right in and then nailed it at the bottom of the edge there. He's a better fish. Not a giant, but not a bad fish before work, that's for sure. So that's on that blood mullet colour. 75mm. Chunky fish. There we go, that's a nice little chunky bass. Not a big fish again, but you saw, you know, the power of that run of that fish. That's a bass. That first hit is brutal, and that first run is what keeps us coming back to catch more of these guys. So you can see that 75mm Quake power vibe in there. So a deadly presentation fished vertically in schooled bass, but also extremely effective fishing the banks because you can throw that big long cast, get it down there, mix your retrieve up, and get onto a few fish like that guy. All right, so combo wise, we're fishing TT black Mamba rods, so nice 40-ton Torre punchy rod. That gives us that nice punchy long cast. It also gives us the control of the fish around the timber. So, you know, I might normally fish a 2 to 4 kilo, but with the timber and the chance of a big bass, I'm on a 3 to 6 kilo black Mamba. Also punches that 75mm vibe out a long way. And I've got that paired up with a 2500 ITX. So ITX is a beautiful smooth reel, nice smooth drag on there as well, which is what we want, especially with fishing trebles on those bass, so we don't pull so many hooks. You want a nice smooth, like that's a multi-disc drag on there. 7+1 bearing reel, so a beautiful smooth reel. And we've paired that up with 8-pound braid. So 8-pound braid breaks well above 8 pound, but it gives me that nice long cast. And then I'm fishing 12-pound leader, but the guys fish even up to 20 and 20 here, 20-pound braid, 20-pound leader, to try and get some of the bigger fish out of the timber here. So that's the combo setup that's throwing the lures for us today. All right, we'll put the drone up in the air and just show you guys the sort of area that we're working. So it's basically, we've just walked in along a big long bank area, but when you are walking that bank, have a think about what might be holding fish in the area, whether it's timber, there's some trees and sticks and things in the water here. You'll see areas of weed go out and drop off and give you a hard sort of weed edge. Otherwise those points as well. So points, weed edge, timber, all those things that might hold fish, but it's all about finding those deeper edges as well where those schooled fish are holding. So we'll sort of start at one end and just work our way along, stopping every 10 or 20 meters, throwing a few casts. If someone gets a bite, we'll work that area over a bit more and see if we can get a few more bites out of that area. So all about finding the schools will move, they'll move further away, they'll move in, they'll move along the bank. So finding the schools and finding those schools that are feeding actively. So get out there, trek the banks around your local dam and see if you can find a few bass. Purple rain colour.
Yeah.
He has scoffed today. Yeah, he's eating that all right. Retrieve wise?
Yeah, just actually that guy just ate it on the drop. The line just kept sinking. And
there you go, make sure you're paying attention as that lure's dropping down. Eating on the drop basically means as your lure's sinking, you'll see the line move or you'll feel that tick in the line, set the hook and you'll come up solid on a guy like this. Yeah. Beautiful. There's a stack of different retrieves that you can use when fishing for bass. We're basically fishing an area here that drops down to a deeper bank and the fish are schooling out in the deeper water. So I'm just going to show you 3 quick retrieves that we use when we're chasing bass off a ledge like this. So we'll make a long cast out into deeper water where those fish are schooling, and I'm basically just watching the line to see that line go slack. So the line will cut a V in the water, and once that lure's on the bottom, the line will go slack and we know we're down there where the fish are. But we also want to keep an eye on that line in case we do get that bite as it's sinking. So we're on the bottom there. So basically I may just use a slow roll, so a slow wind. So I'm just slow winding that vibe. I can feel it vibing, so I've got it moving enough that it's vibrating. And the fish will just follow that through the water column and off and smack it. So I might stop again through that slow roll. So I've wound that up off the bottom a bit, got it vibing. It's back down there again. Slow rolling again. I'll allow it to fall back to the bottom again, and then I'll continue that slow roll back up the bank. That slow roll can often be very effective if the fish are moving through the water and they're feeding aggressively. Sometimes we need a burn and kill to switch them on. So a burn and kill retrieve. We'll get that out there again and let it sink. So a burn and kill, basically the burn is the wind and the kill is the pause. So we can vary the speed and duration of the burn, the wind, and we can also vary the length of the kill, the pause, and allow that plastic to sit for longer on the bottom, that vibe, if the fish are shut down. There we go, Deck, what's that in there? Lungy. So we're on the bottom, so burn and kill, basically we're going to give it a few quick winds, pause that vibe, allow it to hit the bottom again, a few quick winds, pause. Oh, there's a tap. And sometimes that can fire them up. Sometimes you've got to mix up your retrieves, especially if you do catch a couple of fish out of the school. They can quieten down, so you change up your retrieve and try and switch them on again. So that's a burn and kill. The burn is the wind, the kill is the pause. And then probably the most popular retrieve that a lot of us use, chasing all different sorts of species, be it bass in the fresh or flatties in the salt, is a hopping retrieve. So we're just going to belt that lure back out there again, out into the deep water. And again, we'll let it get to the bottom, keeping an eye on that line. And then the hopping retrieve, we basically use the rod tip to hop the lure up off the bottom, pause it, sinks, and we wind up the slack. Stay in touch with that lure in case you do get a bite as that lure's falling back down again. So give it a couple of hops, wind that slack, wait for that lure to hit the bottom, and just keep an eye on that line for a tick or feel that bite through the rod. And that's our hopping retrieve. A variation on that is sometimes you may want to wind when you hop and then pause. Wind when you hop and then pause. Otherwise it's often that 2 hops, wind up the slack, allow that vibe to sink to the bottom, wait for that bite. Hopefully we can convert one of those retrieves into a few fish. Oh, that is so thick. The things we do for a fish. Yoo! Another one you may encounter while chasing a bass. Would have been nicer if he was a golden. But here's a caddy.
Plenty of these guys in here.
I've moved over next to Josh because he's smashing it at the moment. He's getting the numbers. So I've come to pinch his spot, but also to find out a bit more about his retrieve. What are you doing, mate? I'm over here to copy you. I've got the same colour on as well. Look out.
So we've sent it out, sunk it to the bottom. We're just going to do a lift up off the bottom, and then just a slow wind with a continuous shake. Pause, sink it back down and go again. So we're just working at about a metre and a half, giving it a bit of a pause and then continuing that bit of a shake back retrieve. There's a hit. There's another hit. And we got him.
And fish on. Look at that, how easy is that? Hang on, they're not eating mine. What's going on here? Yeah, this bloke's got it sus. So there you go. Big long cast, sink to the bottom. Give it that high lift and then that shake and bake retrieve, the shake and the slow wind.
Just because they're a little bit sort of salty this morning. You know, normally you
they're a bit finicky.
Do that continuous retrieve or a bit of a burn and kill, but they're just not super active. So
yeah, you're almost talking them into eating it, hey?
Bit of that extra convincing.
Just drive them nuts, drive them nuts, drive them nuts, and then boom, they eat it.
There he is.
Yeah, beautiful. Right on cue. So there you go. You got to mix that retrieve up until you find what works. And if somebody's catching on a particular colour or a particular retrieve, it's worth changing it up to try and get the bite. Mud skipper. So there you go, folks. A nice quick morning session before work, chasing bass, land-based, keeping it nice and simple with our sling bags and a handful of those 75mm Quake power vibes, which got us the bites this morning. So grab a handful of those, check out your local empowerment, get out there and get stuck into a few bass. Fish on.